Insomniac is back in it. Had his cursor over the top of his crosshair, but he's playing Mercy, so it doesn't really matter. He could have lived with that, right, Brun?
I mean, you know, it would still be okay. I mean, considering the fact that we will see both teams actually adopt the Pharah, all he needs to do is just stick to Boyle.
Well, now they see the swap, and I was making a couple of jokes in chat earlier. How do you not know what Renegades is going to run? Because here it is. Quad tank strat for them. The
Nobody saw it
difference
coming.
you often see would be, you know, maybe a triple tank with Louis playing something else, but this is going to be it. Renegades starting off strong here, going very aggressive just to start things off, but Louis taking down pretty low. They need to keep him safe, and he will fall.
Oh, and Boyle already with the Rocket Bar's gonna just clean things up. That's the biggest thing that I wanted to point out as the team fight was starting out. Boyle was already at 70% before that first blood happened, and just like that, they're gonna manage to go for a first team fight win. Louis will make the swap over to the McCree, and Ube back onto the Pharah.
Have to wonder, is that the fastest ult in history? Is it? Is it? Boyle. I mean,
maybe.
He's quick with it, but Ube comes back. He's gonna be on a Pharah of his own. They're still running that same support lineup, so Hobbs, I mean, he's gonna have no extra help there at all in the air, and I think they might wind up switching this up. And as we do see Renegades playing 2-2-2 here now, this is not the typical look that you expect to see from them. And as they also have Ube in the sky trying to take on Boyle, who does have that Mercy pocket, they have Hobbs and Dogman as well as Hawk that are all able to put pressure. Even Hypnot can even jump up into the sky and put pressure on Ube, and he's not going to have that same support as he would with, you know, the Mercy pocket. So we'll have to see how this works for them. They're going to have to get very aggressive as they do go full dive now. Renegades, not with a tank strat.
Only with a Lucio instead of that Zenyatta. We'll see whether or not it's going to pay off. But so far, they're going to look to engage, but Guru is going to be hit by that pulse bomb. Now suited for it too, and we'll see in the end, still the defensive side winning out in terms of the kills. Hobbs finding Louis there in that engage. Dogman even getting the D-suit, securing that one. Means that the rest of Renegades will be pushed back towards their spawn, and definitely seemingly in a lot of trouble as Boyle will get a late kill onto Ube too. And Insomniac did pop that Valkyrie, but look at all those ultimates still available for them here.
Dan is on the Mercy for Ube. He has been on it for a little bit now, but they still just have had a little bit of trouble as they're looking to try to make this work. Oh, Mac almost got one shot by Dogman. If Insomniac was actually boosting him up instead of Boyle, that would have easily been a first pick for the defensive side of No Clout, who are holding out strong right now. Transcendence ready for Dogman. Hold out with if anything starts to go awry.
And we'll see Hobbs forced his dad to recall, and they will indeed use the Transcendence, but the Rocket Barrage will be popped. Boyle getting 1-for-1 so far for his team. Soundbarrier, they'll pop offensively by Mac, and as a result, can they still secure something on the point? As Mac is gonna find Insomniac right after he gets a Resurrect onto the Pharah, so Boyle's still in disguise, still looking to do something, but in the end, he will manage to get one onto Ube, and this might be enough to push them away, especially with the Hypnot claiming another kill of his own onto Mac. Dogman gets Louis too, and even though Guru does find Boyle in the end of disguise, it shouldn't matter. Once more, it's No Cloud looking exceptional on this first point defense.
The movement and the communication with No Cloud is just looking stronger and stronger every day, especially as they picked up Dogman and Insomniac. You know, Dogman brings a lot of, you know, veteran capability to this team, especially in that role where he can, you know, help call those targets out and make sure that he's elusive on the Zenyatta. Definitely helps them stabilize in some of those situations where things start to get a little dicey.
And still no ticks achieved on the point for Renegades. Means that they're under a lot of pressure. With 25 seconds left, Hobbs is going to be dropping pretty low. Rocket Barrage is at the ready, but can't quite get an angle. Of course, being a sitting duck while casting means that Ube is going to opt not to use it for now. Louis dropping really low. Will manage to stay alive. Still looking for a pulse bomb. Transcendence will be popped. Finally goes for it onto Hawk, but it will be Guru who gets desuited in the end. And now, as he will fall, it's overall still looking really good for No Cloud, with Insomniac being able to keep them alive. Hobbs is getting another kill onto Mac. Dogman, one onto New Face Guy himself, and it does look like No Cloud might be able to hold with no ticks on the point for Renegades.
No Clout, no problem. An excellent defense from them, completely shutting the Renegades out. And I remember you guys talking on the desk just a couple minutes ago. You felt pretty good about Renegades, but now the question becomes, are they perhaps too predictable? Because while they have been pretty solid with the tank style, we haven't seen too many dive looks from them, and the ones that we have seen haven't been really all that great. Granted, I believe the last time we saw this from them was actually with Pibamitsu, and Louis wasn't even in that lineup at the time. They had subbed in Pibamitsu in his place. Whereas, from what I've seen, at least from what we've seen in this tournament, Louis has been the better tracer. Louis has actually been a standout for this roster in almost everything that he's played for them so far. But really, I mean, do you think that they're too predictable now with the tank setup and just being able to contain them if a team sees that coming, or do you think that they are more versatile than what they show, especially with Louis like right now on a McCree, and they do have more up their sleeve than what we've seen so far?
While I do think that they are capable of it, they just haven't showed it to a high degree as of yet. And that the problem with their offensive round wasn't just the fact that they went for that quad tank early on. It was afterwards not really able to capitalize off any kills or just making sure they reset fast enough. I feel like it was down to more of those standard basics in terms of mistakes rather than necessarily the composition themselves or that adaptation maybe being a bit too slow.
So now looking at the attack, I imagine, I feel like they would swap this up, but they could go with it, and then they could change Hobbs over to a tank as well. But it looks like we're going to be seeing, okay, we're going to be seeing a simple kind of more aerial dive. They're going to be going with Boyle again on the Pharah. They felt like it worked really well, and it should work here as well. They just have to make sure that they stay safe and away from Louis. If you do get close into that kind of 30-meter range where Louis becomes, very deadly, having that two-shot potential, that's where they need to start kind of being careful. But Boyle is just going to play this from range, and this is the smart way to play it.
And the problem is they only need one tick, so if they could get into a position where they can force the defensive side to really lose out on any early members, it might be difficult, but already it is a free for one Hobbs. That's fine. Louis, who was left by his lonesome self onto the point, and as a result, Hobbs is still gonna be alive for now, looking to wait, potentially section off Louis back from spawn, but as we will see some support come in, it might just be forced to reset instead.
Yeah, Mac is going to go ahead and speed boost Louis back to the point. They have the time to do it because they killed Hawk off quite late as he jumped off to get his mech back. So they have all the time in the world to pull this off. Hobbs still is in the background, though, in that backline position, and just kind of snuck his way there, still just holding out. Louis against Boyle is definitely going to be a matchup you want to look out for, but as Hobbs comes back up on top, has that high ground control for them, could really put the pressure on until he gets the pulse bomb, and between that and the barrage, that could be the kills that they're looking for.
When the Colossus used, but the suit will not be saved, and as a result, Guru will go down. But Ube is going to look to build up that Graviton rather, but in the end, it's still going to be New Face Guy going down as Rocket Barrage was successful with help of Transcendence, and now Graviton only really catching the Winston. It does look like in the end, it should be no Cloud with the victory to start things off here on Eichenwald.
A quick and easy first map take. Renegades crumbled under the pressure of the Pharah. Louis just wasn't quite able to get it done, and I mean, with the way that they were playing it, so safe, so reserved, almost passive, where Boyle was able to get, a lot of damage off when they clump like this. This is exactly why he was able to get that barrage so quick.
And we will be moving on to a short ad break, but right after, we will be back with Anubis. Don't go anywhere.
A very impressive performance by Clout. I don't think we've seen a first point hold on Icon in the North American region yet.
I do believe we did see it, but
We
not
did?
to this degree. It was very surprising that Renegades were not only just caught off guard almost seemingly in that first attack, but afterwards they were slow to adapt, didn't really play well when it comes to overall team coordination. And on the other side, no Cloud. As Hurek said, they kept on improving and it shows.
Yeah, Voil was definitely having his A game and he completely shut down Renegades, so to say. Also, as Hurix mentioned, they're looking great with the new support line.
I mean, usually we've seen Moras charge up that ultimate as fast, but hey, that was probably the quickest one we've seen in general in terms of ultimate charge for Voil with Afera. Having that rocket barrage definitely caught the opposition off guard.
That was very quick. Now, coming into Temple of Anubis, we've seen Renegades take a map of Fractal Esports. Do you think this is the map for them where they can bounce back?
It can most definitely be, but the problem is they just haven't looked too strong. And as we've mentioned in the past, they are somewhat predictable because of their proficiency and just a general choice for going with the quad tank.
Let's see if Renegades can make a comeback. Take it away.
And we will indeed, and no surprise here. Gravity, we do have Renegades back at it with the quad tank. Just like Brunch was talking about, again, you have to wonder, is it too predictable now, or is it going to be able to work out for them? Because, again, in Anubis especially, they have been known to turn maps around and, you know, have the possibility of being able to completely make the turnaround. But as they start out, Hawk is going to lose his mech. That will slow down the fight from happening for no Clout. But look at Hobbs' position, just right under that bridge.
We'll see him potentially find a few sidelines overall, though. With that positioning, it should enable Hidan to charge up that coalescence really quick. The rest of his team to stay on that point, make sure they do not give up any ticks as of yet. And Louis dropping to half HP will manage to disengage for now, as we will see the rest of No Cloud drop onto the point, almost getting that first tick already on the board. And with that, things are already looking stellar, as said, for them. Hobbs looking for those headshots. Will manage to dish out quite a bit of damage, but overall, No Cloud with the pulse bomb is going to be able to secure a double kill. Sugar Free and Hobbs picking up big time here to start things off on Anubis, and Renegades just seemingly crumbling right now.
They just completely shut Louis out too. As soon as he comes out away from New Face Guy's shield, they just put so much pressure on him, and that's what we would have liked to have seen from Envision in that same situation, is having the Tracer able to start that momentum, you know, early on. So now as they come back into it, we'll have to see if they're able to hang on. Hobbs over here on the side putting pressure out. They're going to run at him for right now, but still a lot of ultimates held on by No Clout. They're trying to hang on to the objective right now and see if they can get some ticks going for themselves here.
But it is going to be Sugar Free taking their first kill of the fight, and as we will see, get another one off of the Pulse Bomb is going to be looking exceptional for them. Sugar Free getting a quad in that fight will clean it up for his team. One tick on the board, looking to close this one out really quick. Potentially New Face Guy not finding any targets with the charge. Sound barrier used by Mac just to come back from spawn, but overall, this might just be one of the quickest Anubis rounds we've ever seen. Luido finally onto Tracer is going to look to retaliate. One kill onto Dogman, still looking for an opportunity here, but it is going to be the self-destruct use. Resuit will not happen. Hobbs picking up that kill, but finally with the Graviton, this might be the turnaround as Hypnot is going to drop really low, finally gets taken down, and in the end, it took them a while, but it does seem like eventually, with the respawn advantage, Renegades will regroup.
Hobbs coming away with the end for sight too. It's just that first kill onto Dogman was that opening that they were looking for. Louis came in clutch for them there. I think that was actually their first kill of the map, because before that I think they just had a D-suit and that was it. But now as they come back into this fight, Dogman looking to try to get up the Transcendence. New face guy already fell.
And he had an Earth Shatter, which is not going to be able to use for a while, at the very least until he comes back from spawn. Hypnot looking to displace the opposition with that Primal Rage. It will be Guru losing his suit, and now that he's left in his Baby Diva form, is not going to be able to do too much. Hobbs still getting kills on that high ground, and with Dogman using that Transcend is going to make things easier for the rest of his team to stay on the point, as Hobbs will get another, this time around onto the Roadhog. In the meantime, though, Guru did get the resuit. However, it's not really going to amount to nothing, as the self-destruct will be popped. Fertec almost there. Louis now is going to potentially come back from spawn on the Genji, but Ube still looking to do something on the Tracer, will manage to stay alive. And Earth Shatter will not be casted. Gets killed right as he was going for it, and as a result, with Hawk getting a quad at the end, it will be No Clout looking poised to potentially close the series out really early.
Still a decent stall from Renegades as they came back in. I mean, given a little bit more time, it was just a matter of fact that Louis probably would have been able to eventually find something as the Tracer. And if he did, then maybe they would have been able to, you know, stall out long enough to actually mount the full hold to be able to allow them to regroup and keep it going. It takes more time. But as it stands, I mean, we saw them engaging after about a minute and a half onto point B, and then they were able to take what would amount to be about 2 minutes off the clock before finally giving the point up, and what seemed like it was going to be an almost instantaneous take, you know, after about 30 more seconds. So still, I would say that Renegades pulled out a little bit more than I would have expected there. And now as they attack, you have to wonder again, you know, obviously they're going to be going for a 3 tank or 4 tank. Oftentimes it's going to be the 4 tank. And as they do, you know, engage, and as they do come in, often you'll see them going under the bridge and then going into that same room that we all saw them defend in. There's another look that we've seen from them, which is going up on high ground, kind of touching base on the mega health pack up top, and then, you know, falling down from there.
Oh,
but
they're going for it. Sorry for getting us out of here, but Hobbs is actually going to stick with the Bastion, so they're going to go full anti-tank comp right now, with Sugarfree also on the Junkrat rather. It's going to be really interesting to see if it's going to pay off in the end.
I mean, this will likely force some swaps from Renegades if they just get, you know, completely lawnmowered instantly, which between Hobbs and Sugarfree, you have to imagine that they will. But as soon as we see some swaps from Renegades, do you think this might be, you know, too easy to counter, that No Clout could maybe lose the first point because they're buying into this strat a little bit too much, maybe?
It could most assuredly happen. It can be really risky having the likes of a Bastion and the rest of you've seen in the past. If the opposing team gets onto the point and forces them to drop down, things are going to be very difficult for the defensive side, as we'll see. For now, Renegades look to get a potential angle, and Orisa now, alongside Hobbs, actually repositioning next to the bridge, almost getting a kill onto Louis. Will manage to stay alive, however, Hawk rapidly losing his mech will make things a little bit more difficult. But Guru will also lose his, so far it is somewhat of an equal fight, as we will see Sugarfree find New Face Guy, and it seems like this might actually work. Notek still on the point. Dogman and Sugarfree finding the kills. Mac will go down in the end, and it seems like so far so good for No Clout.
A minute off the clock because they were so timid about approaching a Bastion Junkrat combo that it just took them so long to get into that position, and they come away, you know, obviously Hadan comes away with a decent amount of charge, but Mac doesn't really get a whole lot. He's only at 54% right now because he was trying to work his way around to put some pressure onto Hobbs if he could. And now we see the tire ready, so this becomes another threat for Renegades.
And another bigger problem potentially is the tank configuration as well. But Guru will look to, at the very least, make things a little bit more difficult with the Matrix. Ube, you charge up that. Graviton's gonna be big, but the Tire is gonna find a double kill. Both supports at that, and just like that, it will be Renegades dying off on that point, looking to reset, and again, so much time bought for No Cloud. Maybe a bit overcommitting with that tank configuration also used by Hobbs, but
I mean, they have both support ults. They also have the defense matrix available for Hawk. They have the shield from Hypnot, and if they can buy enough time, they'll have the bongos from Hypnot to provide them that extra damage output to get their ultimates up faster. If they can slow down this fight and just with enough time for Hypnot to get his ult up, they could easily turn this back around with Hobbs just laying the damage in on that sentry mode.
oh, but look at that. New face guy will drop his Hypnot with the help of Transcendence. The rest of his team is going to just go win. Self-destruct will be used, and the room will find 2 kills onto Hidan and Louis, and with Hobbs still on the Bastion, still alive, they will once again win it out. And with 1 minute and 28 seconds left, a lot of ultimates committed. We will finally see some swaps here for Renegades, but you got to ask yourself, is it too late?
Also, on top of that, I mean, while we also see the swap happening where Ube is going over to the Pharah, this is something that's still easily punishable for a Bastion. I mean, he can still go into recon mode, and essentially, he's like a mini soldier. So, I don't know if this is even really the pick, especially as they're still going to be a little bit slow to engage here. Sugar Free with a little bit of extra damage from that bongo should be able to perhaps find a pick, and if not, he'll have the Tire.
This is going to be extremely difficult for Renegades. Might just be back of max sound barrier to really make things work for them. As you will see, for now, Hypnot pushed out of that potential advantageous position. Self-destruct will be used by Guru, but Riptire is going to come out. He actually finds a kill and onto the Bastion. So maybe with these few potential advantageous ultimates in favor of Renegades, they could get this one done. But in the meantime, Sugarfree is still finding Mac. It's going to be a pretty big one potentially, as Hobbs will be brought back with the help of the Resurrect. And with the tank configuration, we'll look to push them away. But overall, it's still an all-out brawl into the fight. Hypnot dropping really low. However, Guru's going to be losing his mech. And in the end, we might just see 1 tick finally achieved here for the defensive team. But no, Hypnot still looking to do something, as the Insomniac will be good to go with the Valk. But he will fall, and as a result, Renegades might just do it in overtime.
It looks like that might be possible. Ube gonna take some pressure, though. They need to get some healing. Defense Matrix will cover Hobbs' pressure as well. And I guess, like you said, it looks like in overtime, here they will do it. After they get those kills online, Hobbs, I expect, will switch as well. And with a couple of swaps to the dive, they do unlock it. And this was what I was talking about before, you know, is it too punishable when we do see Renegades finally swapping? And that is kind of the case. They just took advantage of the fact that Hawk was a little out of position, completely isolated him, and now they're looking for a second point take.
And they do have quite a lot of ultimates built up for them. We'll see Sugarfree, though, getting Mac, and the Blade will come out. But Louis dropping really low. It will be Hobbs getting the kill onto Ube as well. And overall, things are looking stellar for No Cloud, as they will manage to find the kills. Even Insomniac will get that Mercy in the sky. And with these few kills, we'll see once again No Cloud winning out another team fight. And it will come down to 3 minutes and 15 seconds left for the second point here for Renegades.
And these are the swaps for No Cloud. Dogman over to the Sombra. He's been playing so much of this lately. And Insomniac will play the Moira to be the primary healer for this team. We know what a Moira is capable of in terms of keeping everybody topped up and healthy. A lot of healing to expect from this player here, and Coalescences abound. I mean, we're going to be seeing them just as much as the EMP, more than likely.
But at the same time, Sugarfree is going to be able to pop that Riptire, looking for those targets. Can he find them so far? Not going to get quite spotted, but no, it will be Louis still getting it that one in the end. And as a result, New Face Guy still on the point, dropping pretty low, will be forced to use that Primal Rage. Guru, in the meantime, takes out Hawk, and with these kills, maybe Renegades can finally get something done on the point. But the Pulse Bomb's going to come out, gets 1 kill in return there for Hobbs. And as Dogman will fall, overall member advantage definitely in favor of the offense. Ube gets another one onto that Moira, and with these kills, they will get the second tick soon enough. But with a potential stall, it will be a bit difficult, however not good enough. But 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock here for Renegades.
the same way they unlocked the first objective is the same way they got the second. Create momentum off of an early pick. Both times it was Hawk losing his mech early on. They don't have the defense matrix to protect their main tank. They don't have the defense matrix to protect really anyone, obviously, at that point. And as soon as we saw the supports get pressured down, Dogman just wasn't able to slip away that time. Did not manage to get his EMP out as well. And then when Sugarfree came back on the May, not able to stall out long enough for Dogman to get in there with the EMP there. So opportunities, unfortunately for No Clout, kind of wasted there, as they do wind up giving up the second objective. But they do have a much larger time bank to work with. Obviously, you know, almost double, or rather more than double, sorry. But looking like they're going to be going for a totally different look, a more, I guess, standard look than what we saw in their last defense. And I do think that this is a good play because while, you know, you do gamble the first time around on them going for the quad tank, you know that it might be a little bit dicier of a gamble. Might be more risky now to try to go for this. They might pull out something different. You don't know. But this composition here is good against whatever they're going to throw out. So having the Sombra playing the dive on defense, I think, is a smart play for No Clout.
Still gonna have to really play it with a well-executed dive because the prime targets will be Mac and the likes of Hidan. And as I say that, they're both gonna drop pretty low. Hidan, the first one to fall, as Hypnon's gonna claim that kill. Dogman still lying in wait off into the side. We'll look to charge up that EMP as quickly as possible. And with this advantageous team fight win already, with the pick, if you will, it will be Renegades losing quite a lot of time with 1 minute and 30 seconds. They're not gonna have much to work with here.
So they're going to make those exact same swaps that they made initially, completely swap up their composition. They've already lost, like you said, about a minute now. But as they come in for the second push, this is what got them their first take. But Hawk is staying a little bit more passive positionally here and will not allow himself to go down early.
Sugarfree, though, is going to drop pretty low. We'll see whether or not he can stay alive as Insomniac will fall. Dogman does get 1 kill in return, but overall still things are looking good for Renegades as they will look to contest them on that high ground. New face guy gonna drop pretty low, but with the help of Hidan, it might just be enough. EMP is gonna come out though, but the kills are still favoring the blue hand side of Renegades. Sugarfree will be left onto the point with that Winston, but as we will see the Soundbreak committed on top, Renegades should be looking to close this one out, at the very least this first point, with 2 ticks already on the board. Mac getting another one onto Insomniac, and they will indeed do just so with 1 minute left for that second one.
Dogman gets out alive. Health pack control. They do lose the first point. Not a good sign for No Clout, as it looked like they were going to be able to make a good hold. But, you know, as we see them looking to hold here, 30 seconds obviously added to the clock. Defense Matrix almost hacked out. New face guy taking the run of that, though, as he goes oh so low and will go down as well. And look at the ultimate stacking up now for the defense.
They have all of them available. We'll see whether or not they're even going to commit to any, as overall it's just 30 seconds left on the clock. They might just keep them in their pockets for now, making sure that they do win the next team fight, because with 20 seconds left on the clock, it might just be the last one here for Renegades.
And they're all going to get topped off, healthy, make sure they have all their cooldowns ready. Hobbs up top looking for that opportunity to put some pressure onto that Pharah, who does not see him just yet. Throws the stick out in midair, does not get it, but still, first pick to No Clout.
Still looking for more. It will be 1 kill on each side with the blade. Ube gets another one, gets a second, but will go down in the end. And with these kills potentially favoring the defensive side, considering the respawn advantage too, it should be looking good for them. No tech still available for the side of Renegades, but with the Mercy on the point, self-destruct will be popped. Guru actually managing to find 2 kills off of it. It's not gonna be over just yet. Renegades might look to still get this one for overtime. Now Matt getting another kill onto Hobbs will make things a little bit more difficult for the defensive side, but Hypnot coming back in with a Primal Rage will take out Hidan, so one of the supports going down. Both of them now, Hypnot single-handedly looking to shut this push for now, as we will see the staying power be lessened. Ube will get a kill of his own, but it's not really gonna amount to anything. And in the end, No Clout will win this one out, but still 3 points acquired by Renegades.
Mac was almost the hero that Renegades did not deserve at that point. I mean, he came in, he booped them right back into Guru's self-destruct. That's why he got those kills, because they were just thrown right back off the bridge and into that line of sight that got them the 2 first picks. And then right from there, he turned, and as soon as that cooldown was ready, he flicked it over to Louis and found the killing blow on the Tracer as well. So 3 kills coming almost completely from the Lucio, just flying in off of some high ground and then just taking everybody out with some boops. So good stuff from Mac to start things off. He had a sound barrier, but just died off in that fight. And we saw Sugar Free, among the rest of No Clout, able to turn that one around, especially with Hypnot, you know, kind of creating a lot of space for them, just creating some chaos on the objective as well to throw around the control that obviously the attacking team had at that point. But Renegades now looking to defend. It's no question what we're going to see comp-wise from them. And they come out once again with 4 tank. And look at this. Hobbs at the moment is playing around with the Bastion. I don't think he's going to stick with this. I think he's probably going to go for the Widow, just like we saw the first time around. But what do you make of their attack? I mean, obviously we'll see him swap, but does not look like that's the case. He's going to stick to the He's on the Bastion!
I mean, I can't really blame him, but the big problem potentially for them is the fact that we'll see the rest of Renegades setting themselves up near the bridge. Will mean that potentially he might not get into a position where he can actually start shooting at them. But so far, looking to engage both sides, will not quite find any kills. Looking to split their attention. Sugar Free on the Tracer will be able to do just that for now. Hypnot though, and will be able to keep his Bastion safe on that high ground. And with this advantageous position, things are going to be very difficult for Renegades here, as we'll see once again. Hobbs look for those angles. The Matrix will not be there. Louis gets one in return, however, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Pulse Bomb available, gets the D-Suit onto Guru, and overall things are looking exceptional here for No Clout.
Completely dismantles the tank defense that Renegades has set up once again. Hobbs getting a ton of pressure out, forcing them to take a position that they're not used to taking. They're used to just going and holding up in that side room right off the point, and they were forced to now, you just sit under that high ground to try to get away from that sight line, not only from Hobbs but also from Dogman. But they just took advantage of that, and look at the ultimates that they're going to be coming in with. Look at that momentum that they're coming into this second objective with, and they only need the first tick.
That's going to be very problematic here for the defensive side, but it's going to come down to whether or not Ube can charge up that Graviton and potentially turn things around. This the Coalescence will be popped. Hobbs does find 1 kill, gets a second one to double kill here for the Bastion. However, the Graviton will be charged up, ready to go. Gets 1 kill onto Hypnot as the Transcendence was at the ready, but we will see Hobbs look to once again position himself. Self-destruct just instantly popped, as well as that sound barrier defensively. And overall, no other trades will happen. But as I say that, Mac will get another one, as he will claim a second one onto Hobbs. Mac, once again, big-time player here on that Lucio, will manage to find the kills. And no ticks achieved here for No Clout, but they still have 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
They really needed to hang on to their sound barrier there. That fight was just simply not winnable, especially when you don't have the spawn advantage. I mean, you're really at a disadvantage there, and then you just throw out an ultimate when you didn't really have the ability to stick in that fight too much longer even with it. So now Insomniac, they delay a little bit, but as they come back into this one, it's going to be quite difficult. You're still playing against a 3-tank strat. It's just with a Winston rather than a Reinhardt, and you're playing against a semi-dive style as well, where, Guru can go forward with them. Louis, a new face guy, just looking for a single target to jump on.
Coalescence will be popped by Hidan, but the blade is going to come out of Louis. Can he find the kills? So far, he does get a big one onto Sugar Free, as he will deny that potential blade to come out anytime soon. Gets the D-Suit as well, and with these few opening kills off of those 2 ultimates, it will be once again Renegades winning out on this team fight, buying themselves quite a bit of time. And look at that, Ube is good to go with another Graviton. Mac having the sound barrier available as well. Will look to stall things for his team, but considering the fact that on the other side, we will see the Transcendence be available, that could still make things really difficult for Renegades.
Renegades is going to have to live and breathe by not just the Gravitons, but also the blades, and using them intermittently to make sure that they have an option that, is very lethal for them to make these wipes happen. Because if they start staggering, they could lose that first tick quickly.
We'll see now the pulse bomb come through, but not gonna find any kills. Hobbs unsuccessful with that one. Trigger Feed dropping really low. Will be forced to disengage, cannot pop the blade, but in the end will be Ube going down. I think that even the Graviton got eaten by the Matrix, as it didn't even see it anywhere. And with the blade coming out of the side of Sugar Feed, eventually it will still see Guru find only one kill, and Dogman claiming another. In return, onto Louis. Coalescence once again at the ready for Hidan. Means that overall, Renegades somehow still find the teamfight a win.
They're just struggling to find kills. They pull the blade out and they don't really get much done with it. It was denied almost completely by the sound barrier from Mac. I mean, he pulled it out about the same time, and just that extra little bit of shield was all they needed to get away from the blade, and Mac just ran away, disengaged completely from Sugar Free as he chased him, so it just completely nullified the blade out with Lucio just in general. So now coming into the second fight, Hobbs pretty close to a pulse bomb. They do have sound barrier this time around from Insomniac after he used it late, 2 fights ago, but that's a first pick on a new space guy.
And the pulse bomb is going to look to D-suit Guru, and without that front line, it's going to make things a little bit more easier potentially for No Cloud, as the blade will come out. However, the sound barrier coming out in return will make things difficult for him, as Louis will eventually go down. Hypnot pops the Primal Rage, overtime kicking in. If No Cloud get the stick, this is going to be it for Renegades, as Sugarface is going to get another kill. Hobbs with another anti-new face guy too, and it does look like No Cloud might finally get the teamfight win and knock out Renegades out of the tournament with Anubis.
The new No Clout establishing themselves some clout, taking out Renegades, a team that, has in the past had a couple of good looks, especially at the contenders level, completely dismantling them, removing them from Overwatch Pit Season 2.
And we will be moving on to a break, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next, it will be last night's leftovers versus Full Sim.